My name is Aiden Cordina, and this is UN FLEEB. Oh, I love fishing. I actually did not grow up fishing. Fun fact, I didn't get into fishing until like 4 or 5 years ago because my girlfriend actually, her family lives on the lake, and so they fish a lot. And so I kind of got into fishing that way. And then the last few years or so, I started like getting my own stuff, and I started fishing in ponds around Denton. And then my parents actually moved onto a lake, and so now I have all this access to a lake and a cool place to fish, but I still just fish around Denton because I just love like going around the banks of small ponds, fishing for bass. But it was a big thing for me with my girlfriend and her family. I feel like I bonded with her family a lot over that, and so it's become pretty important to me just because of that, really. Denton has so many good little fishing spots. There's a really popular pond that I actually don't recommend going to because it's super pressured and really overfished, but there are some really, really good like small spots that are loaded that nobody fishes at. I live next to a huge pond. It's kind of pressured, but it's not that bad. Like, I've got some good stuff in there. There's so many good spots. I feel like I've been able to explore Denton more because of the spots I've been searching for. So I think I've got to see way more of Denton. I've found random ponds in the middle of hiking trails with my girlfriend, and so it's been pretty cool. I'm giving my hat to a really talented person, Brady. Shout out Brady. But it's sad. It's been really awesome to work here for the past couple of years because I feel like when I got hired for this position, I was still really new in the world of like doing broadcasts for esports. I started doing Counter-Strike. I did Counter-Strike productions in an online league, and I had a little bit of experience, but nothing really close to what I expected this to be like when I got hired here. And so I feel like when I took over initially, it was really overwhelming because I honestly didn't know what was going on. But like once I got the reins and I understood the software and I started to learn more and be able to experiment more, I feel like I really discovered how much fun this can be. And that was definitely like when I realized it was definitely my passion, and I was able to put all my effort into it, especially as like starting last fall when I like started my entire rebrand, and you know, we turned everything up really hard. It's been really, really cool. Just like learning so much stuff here and like so many good people. And so it's been a big impact on me, and I'm really gonna miss working here. So when I started with CS, it was almost no production value because it was all through like online connections. The production would literally just be, we would have like very basic overlays. But when I got here, what was so different was that I was in a real life environment where we had access to all the players right here. We had all their gameplay POVs. We have software in here. We have equipment in here. And so the biggest difference between the two, and the thing that was the hardest adjustment for me, was how do I utilize all this equipment? We have a big audio mixer. We have a switcher board. We have software that I haven't used before. And it was like, how do I take all this and learn how to make it into a show? Another thing that I feel like I got really good at by working here was how to make the most out of the things that I have. I feel like I've become very resourceful when it comes to broadcast. I think that's the beauty of a lot of these softwares too, is that you can be very resourceful with very little, and you can make a lot happen with not a bunch of equipment, a bunch of fancy stuff. And so the biggest difference between the two was definitely that, and the hardest part for me definitely was figuring out how to use all this brand new stuff when I started with pretty much nothing as well. So I started working at the radio station because I thought my passion was like graphic design / web design, because that's what I did there. At the time I really liked social media, but through doing it, I still really like graphic design, but I realized that's not something I want to sit there and do all day. Like, the reason I feel like I fell in love with broadcast once getting here was that I was so active. I feel like I have a unique perspective on like the organization as a whole because I see all the players a lot. I feel like I get to know everybody a lot. And then once it comes to being live, it's a lot different than just being a graphic designer, because graphic designers aren't exactly there in the moment when everything's happening. When it comes to broadcast, I think I liked it so much versus that because you're there when everything's happening. You get to see the big moments. You get to see like their reactions to everything. You get to see the low moments, the high moments. Like it's pretty much as if you're on the team essentially, except you're just in there running the show. At least for the way our setup is. That's how it's kind of been, and I think that's why I enjoyed it a lot more. I like the high speed. I like the adrenaline, the energy. Just pretty much being at the same level as the players when it comes to like where we are location. think my most recent favorite memory was when we got to go with the league team to the, what was it called?
LTA.
LTA. That was a really good memory because I got to experience that. And I wasn't alone. I was with Uma. We had, Brady was there, the guy taking over for me, taking the hat. So it was really cool to experience that, especially with someone like Brady, who I know is taking over for me. And I can see the passion just as I see it in myself. And so I think another good memory is just Brady as a whole. Like, Brady is just, I'm really excited to see where the productions go from here because they're only going to get better. And then another classic memory for me, I think, would be like, when I first got hired here, because when I first got hired here, I didn't think anybody wanted to talk to me. And actually it was Staff Member Appreciation Week, and Dylan took us all out to Hanabi and got us all food. And that was the first time I'd met like everybody in the program, all like the staff members at least. And that was actually a really big moment because it felt like what I thought about myself was wrong because I thought no one would speak to me because I was new and like lame broadcast or whatever. But I got to talk to everybody and then everyone was there. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, first I want to shout out V, who was our first GA, the first person I spoke to when I was trying to apply here. I actually applied for graphic designer. Interviewed for graphic designer, didn't even get the job. Came back in, and he told me I'd be great for broadcast, which kind of like set my mind into the space of that and really trying to pursue that, which is, I put a lot more effort into broadcast for my Counter-Strike stuff. Came back in the spring, applied again, interviewed with V and Dylan this time, and then got hired. So honestly, shout out to V because I feel like he set me on the course that I feel like I'm still going on now. Obviously, shout out Dylan. I feel like he does a great job leading this program. I think he's a great face and a great connection, and he's just been doing great things for the program. I want to shout out Brady, the guy taking over for me. Brady's very passionate, just like me, and when Dylan and I were looking for someone to take over for me, that was like my baseline. I want someone passionate in esports, passionate in broadcast. I don't think we could have found anybody better. I think Brady is the best way to go. And I want to shout out my girlfriend, always been supporting me through all my different things that I've been doing in college. And then my parents, of course. They supported me when I changed majors from business to converge broadcast media and media arts. And so that's important, that meant a lot to me. And so I think anybody can do this. I think if you have the drive and the passion for esports and for broadcast, you can definitely get here. Literally, when I applied to Unity Esports, my entire experience resume was just these random streams I had done for this Counter-Strike League online. And so if you can find something online where anybody offers volunteer casting, producing, or observing for any sort of game, that's your big foot in the door. Just don't be nervous. Like, I've never met anybody on this side of like the industry that is mean or like wants to push you away. I feel like everybody who works in broadcast is super welcoming and they're super knowledgeable, and they just want to see success because they care about people who care about broadcast. Just go for it, like I did. Like, if you want to work in esports, I think you just need to go for it, and it's a great time, a great community.
Do you think we should have, all of Unity Esports should have gone fishing as like a bonding activity?
We should still go do that. I don't even work here anymore, but we should go do that. My name is Aiden Cordina, and this is UN FLEEB.
Are you gonna dub? Okay, I'll put that in there somewhere.